Yo, what's up guys? It's Noah here, and in today's video, I'm going to be breaking down the NBA slate on Draftkings for Tuesday, March the 7th. Now we have another decent sized slate, 8 games tonight, so as always guys, we're going to go game by game, talk through each one of these 8 games, give you guys a quick breakdown of the slate, what I do like, taking a first look on Monday night. But as always, before we get started with the breakdown, if you guys do enjoy these DFS videos, if they help you out, make sure you hit that like button down below, hit that subscribe button if you have not yet, and if you guys are new to the channel and if you have never checked out PrizePicks before, you can actually sign up for PrizePicks, use my promo code NOAH. You will get your first deposit matched up to $100 when you do sign up with my promo code. And for those of you that have never heard about PrizePicks, you don't know what they are. They're a player prop site, a little bit different than your traditional DFS site. On Draftkings, FanDuel, Yahoo, those sites, you're building out your lineup, you're trying to compete against other players, you're entering contests, you're watching your lineup go up and down the leaderboard. This is a little bit different. On PrizePicks, you have projections posted for players, and you just pick whether you think a player goes more or has more or less in their projection. And you can see they do already have some props posted for Tuesday's games. They have points props up, they have rebounds, assists, PRA, ton of different categories to choose from, and this is just kind of their early board. You take a look at the board again on Tuesday, and you'll see a ton of props available. So if you guys want to sign up for PrizePicks, make sure that when you sign up, use that promo code NOAH, and again, you will get your first deposit matched up to $100. But let's go ahead and talk through Tuesday's 8-game slate, and we'll start off with the first game of the night, the Magic and the Bucks. So this is one that I don't think is going to be super interesting to target, but there's a couple pieces worth targeting here depending on how some injury news shakes out. We'll start off on the Orlando side. So for Orlando today, Wendell Carter Jr. is currently questionable for this game. He was a late scratch last game. We did see Mo Wagner start in place of Wendell Carter Jr. Mo Wagner, still really cheap, $3,900. He played 33 minutes, had 27 DraftKings points. He would definitely be a really good value here if Wendell Carter Jr. is out again. Matchup against Milwaukee is not great by any means, but or at least Mo Wagner, he is a good permanent producer. He did play 33 minutes last game that he started. I would think he plays probably 30-plus minutes again. He might even play, even if it's a blowout. So I think Mo Wagner, if Wendell Carter Jr. is out, would probably be my favorite play on Orlando. But the rest of the Orlando guys, I'm not really that interested in here. Paolo Banchero in this spot against Milwaukee, I'll probably pass on. Same goes for Markelle Fultz and Franz Wagner. Cole Anthony, Jalen Suggs, these guys don't look super appealing either. Jalen Suggs did start last game with Gary Harris out, played 35 minutes, had 28 DraftKings points. I think he would be a pretty good value if Gary Harris is out again. Gary Harris is questionable, so we'll have to keep an eye on his status. But yeah, if he gets ruled out, I think that does make Suggs an appealing value. I think Cole Anthony would benefit a little bit as well, and I think he would be playable. But Suggs would probably be the guy that I would like most there. So really from Orlando, I'm kind of looking at these value guys if if Wendell Carter Jr. is out again, and if Gary Harris is out again, then those two value guys, Suggs and Wagner, I like quite a bit. But it's pretty much it from Orlando. Now on the other side with Milwaukee, some news to keep an eye on here. Giannis is probable, so he's expected to play, but Jrue Holiday is questionable. So this will be something to monitor with Jrue Holiday questionable. Obviously, if he gets ruled out, that's even better for Giannis. That's even better for Chris Middleton. You would probably see more minutes for Grayson Allen as well, more minutes for Javon Carter. I'd assume Javon Carter would start in place of Jrue Holiday. Probably would play 30 minutes, so he would definitely be in play for value. I think Grayson Allen at 4,500 would be a playable value. Giannis would obviously take on a really, really big role if there's no Jrue Holiday. Matchup against Orlando is obviously great. This game is being played in Orlando, so I think that does make it a little bit more likely this game stays competitive. If it is a competitive game and there's no Jrue, Giannis could just absolutely go off here. So I think Giannis is definitely a strong pay-up option, and he obviously would look better if Jrue got ruled out. Middleton, on the other hand, even if Jrue gets ruled out, I don't know if I would go to Middleton. His minutes have not been that great. He's been coming off the bench still. He's been coming off the bench for a month now. I don't know if they're going to ever move him back into the starting lineup or if he's just going to come off the bench the rest of the season. We don't really know. But he did get up to 27 minutes last game, so maybe he finally plays 28, 30 minutes here. Obviously, his production would increase if Jrue does sit. So maybe you could go to Middleton, but when he's coming off the bench, it's just really hard to tell how many minutes he's going to play. And clearly, they are kind of limiting him right now. So that's pretty much it for that game, I think. I think we kind of talked about all the guys worth targeting in that one. So let's move on to the next game, Washington and Detroit. So start off on the Detroit side. Detroit's on the second night of a back-to-back, so we're going to have to monitor their injury report. They had a good amount of guys out on Monday. Bojan Bogdanovic did not play. Killian Hayes did not play. Jalen Duren did not play. Isaiah Stewart did not play. Hamidou Diallo played Monday night but got injured, so we'll have to see if he plays here. And then James Wiseman was questionable too. He wound up playing. We'll have to see if he plays on the back-to-back. But if all these questionable guys are in, nothing from Detroit really looks that appealing. I mean, Detroit would have a lot of bodies. They would, they're a team that's going to run a deep rotation. They don't want to win games right now, so they really are not going to play many guys a ton of minutes. My interest in Detroit definitely comes if some of these guys are out. So like if Bojan's out again, if Killian Hayes is out again, if Duran, if Stewart, Diallo, like if all these guys are out, then it starts to get really interesting because then you would see a lot of minutes for Jaden Ivey. He would look really appealing at 5,800. Marvin Bagley was kind of like a chalk bust on Monday. He played it, I want to say he played like a decent amount of minutes, but he didn't really have that great of a game. I think Bagley would still be in play here, especially if Duran's out again. Wiseman would also be playable if Duran's out again. And then, some of these other guys like, Alec Burks, he wound up starting on Monday night. He would be a really good value if he winds up starting again. He's only 4,100. I would like him for value. So it's just really a wait and see for Detroit right now. Tough to really break down this team not knowing who's going to be in or out. But again, if everyone plays, don't like much here. If all those guys are out again, then basically whoever's healthy, the guys that we kind of looked to target on Monday night, so like Ivy, Bagley, Wiseman, Burks, if he starts, those will be the guys I would like from Detroit if everyone's out again. Now on the other side with Washington, we got some news to monitor here as well. So Kyle Kuzma was out last game, listed as questionable for this game. If Kyle Kuzma does not play, we can expect a bigger role for both Porzingis and Bradley Beal. Obviously, great matchup here against Detroit, so I think Porzingis and Beal would both look pretty appealing if Kuzma did get ruled out. Porzingis had a big game last game, played 36 minutes, had 53 Draftkings points. That was a tough matchup against Milwaukee, too, and now he gets to face the Pistons. So I think Porzingis is definitely set up to do really well here. Bradley Beal should have a big role as well. I think he's set up to do really well here. He played 35 minutes last game, took 32 shots, had really, really good usage. You would assume that would continue if there's no Kuzma. So I would like both of those Washington guys if Kuzma's out again. And then, some of these other guys like DeLon Wright I think would be appealing. Kind of a disappointing game from DeLon Wright. Played 29 minutes, had just 25 Draftkings points, but he's been productive ever since taking over as a starter, and production would continue to, or his production you would think would continue to be strong if Kuzma remains out. So I would definitely like DeLon Wright. The rest of Washington though, I don't have a ton of interest in the rest of these guys. I don't think like Gaffer, I'll probably pass on here. Denny Avdia, I don't mind. He came off the bench, played 31 minutes. I think he would definitely be in play if Kuzma's out again. They started Anthony Gill last game. Don't know if they would do that again or if they would maybe go to Avdia as a starter. If Avdia were to start, I would like him even more. Even if he comes off the bench, I think he's still going to play a good amount. So, he's someone we could go to for value. But this is all assuming Kuzma sits. If Kuzma plays, there's really not going to be much to like from Washington, even in a good matchup against Detroit. Porzingis, Beal, Kuzma, they would just be like secondary plays if Kuzma's in. So that'll do it for that game. Moving on to the next one, the Hornets and the Knicks. So start off on the Knicks side, some news to monitor here is the status of Jalen Brunson. Jalen Brunson was questionable last game, did not play, listed as questionable for today. We saw massive minutes. It was a double overtime game, but we saw massive minutes for Julius Randle, massive minutes for RJ Barrett, massive minutes for Emmanuel Quickley. All those guys will be very, very appealing if Brunson's out again. It's a great spot against Charlotte. Charlotte's a terrible defensive team. They play at a fast pace. Randle would be set up to do really well here, especially if there's no Brunson. And even if Brunson plays, I think the matchup's really good for Randle. So I would still have some interest in him for tournaments. And obviously, if Brunson plays, he'd be in a really good spot. I would have interest in him for tournaments as well. If Brunson's out, then I love RJ Barrett, love Emmanuel Quickley. We've seen RJ Barrett be really good in the games without Brunson this season. Had a big game last game, played, again, 50 minutes in that double overtime game. Barrett would be a great play at 5,300 if Brunson's out. Emmanuel Quickley would be a great play at 5K. He played 55 minutes in double overtime, had an absurd game, took 28 shots, had 72 Draftkings points. He would take on a massive role here and obviously would be a really good play. So those would be the two guys that I would really like, especially if Brunson does sit. And then Mitchell Robinson, I think, is in a great spot. We've seen Charlotte be a good matchup for centers all season. Robinson's really cheap. The minutes have been there lately. He's been playing like 30-plus minutes a night. He looks like a really, really good value at 4,900. I don't think his status really changes, I don't think his value really changes if Brunson's in or out. If Brunson's in, still like Robinson's a lot. If Brunson's out, still think Robinson's in play. So he's someone that I think looks strong regardless. But obviously, Quickley and Barrett become a lot more appealing. Would be great value plays if Brunson does sit again. And that's probably it for the Knicks. I don't think I'm going to go to like Josh Hart or Quentin Grimes or the rest of these guys. So let's talk about the other side of this game now with Charlotte. And for Charlotte today, I don't think there's any standout plays coming from the Hornets, but there's some guys you can go to in tournaments like Kelly Oubre, Terry Rozier. Obviously, without LaMelo Ball, we can expect big roles for both Rozier and Oubre. Rozier's been pretty underwhelming lately without LaMelo. The usage has been good. The minutes have been great. He just hasn't been that productive. He's taken a lot of shots, though. He just hasn't really been shooting the ball that well. You would think at some point he's going to start knocking down some shots. I don't mind going to Rozier in tournaments. I don't mind going to Oubre in tournaments. The rest of Charlotte, though, like Gordon Hayward, P.J. Washington, Mark Williams, Dennis Smith Jr., not super interested in any of these guys. Don't mind Dennis Smith Jr. at 4,900. Again, he's going to come off the bench, but he's still going to play like close to 30 minutes, and he has been pretty productive with LaMelo off the floor this season. He's an okay value, but I have a feeling like on a slate like this, 8 games, there's going to be better value available. But you could go to Dennis Smith Jr. as a GPP option. I don't mind that, but that's really it for that game. Obviously, there's going to be a lot to like on the Knicks today, especially if Brunson's out again. We kind of talked about everyone that benefits there. Let's move on to the next game, though, Philadelphia and Minnesota. So Philadelphia, they're on a back-to-back today. They did not have Tobias Harris on Monday night, so we'll have to monitor their injury report, see if he plays, if he'll be ready for this game Tuesday. But starting off with the Minnesota side, obviously still no Karl-Anthony Towns for Minnesota. I don't really see too much to like on the Timberwolves today. Anthony Edwards at 9,600 feels priced correctly, especially for this matchup. I don't love the spot against Philly. Philly's a good defensive team. They play at a really slow pace. Rudy Gobert is going to have a tough matchup with Joel Embiid. Plus, there's going to be some foul trouble risk as well guarding Embiid. I would think Gobert plays a lot of minutes here because they're going to want him out there to defend Embiid. But again, at 7,500, not super interested in Gobert. Kyle Anderson, Mike Conley, none of these guys look that appealing either. So Minnesota, kind of just like a full fade for me today. I really don't like much on Minnesota. Now, on the Sixers side, there's going to be a lot to target on Philadelphia, specifically if Tobias Harris and PJ Tucker are out again. So we did see Jalen McDaniels start in place of Tobias Harris last game on Monday night. He was really good. He played, I think he played like over 30 minutes, had over 30 DraftKings points. I'm pretty sure he had like a double-double or close to it. His price tag actually went down. I think he was 3,900 on Monday's slate, and now he's 3,100. So if Tobias Harris and PJ Tucker are out again, I think Jalen McDaniels will be my favorite play on Philly. I do want to mention that Jaden McDaniels, his brother, is in this game. He just plays on Minnesota. So make sure, if you're going to play a McDaniels today, you choose the right one. But Jalen McDaniels for the Sixers, I would like quite a bit for value if he starts again. And then obviously, Harden, Embiid, Tyrese Maxey, they would all take on a slightly bigger role if Tobias Harris is out. I think Harden and Embiid both look like solid GPP plays. Don't love this matchup for Embiid, but again, Embiid's been putting up huge games even in tough matchups. It is the second night of a back-to-back, so we'll have to monitor Embiid's status, see if he actually plays today. Obviously, there's a chance he rests on a back-to-back, but if he's in, I think he's an okay option. I think Harden is an okay option, but not a priority on this slate. And then Tyrese Maxey, I definitely would have some interest in at 5,800. He's been starting lately, been playing massive minutes. Obviously, that would continue today, and especially if Tobias Harris is out, we could expect an even better role, bigger opportunity for Tyrese Maxey. So that's kind of what I'm looking to on Philly today. Definitely, if he starts again, my favorite play from the Sixers is probably going to be Jalen McDaniels. But let's move on to the next game, Golden State and OKC. We'll start off on the OKC side. For OKC today, some injury news to monitor here is the status of Jalen Williams. The small forward, power forward Jalen Williams, not the center Jalen Williams. Jalen Williams listed as questionable for this game, so going to have to monitor his status for this one. If he doesn't play, I'm not exactly sure who would start in place of him. It could be Dario Saric, and Dario Saric is really cheap. Dario Saric has been pretty productive with the Thunder this season in the minutes that he's gotten. Hasn't played a ton with OKC, but when he's been on the floor, he's been a productive, permanent player. So at 3,300, if Jalen Williams is out and Dario Saric winds up starting, he's going to be a pretty good value play, I would think. I would definitely have interest in him. SGA at 10K. I want to like here, but we got reports that SGA is going to have his minutes managed the rest of the season, and then he went and played 37 minutes on last game. I think that was Sunday night. So I don't really know what to do with SGA right now. The fact that it was reported that he's going to have his minutes managed the rest of the season is obviously not what you want to hear. But then again, he played 37 minutes, so who knows? Coaches, they lie all the time. So I think if this game's competitive, we have to assume SGA's playing probably at least 32, 34 minutes. I don't know if he'll play 37 minutes again, but I think he probably gets 32, 34. At 10K in a good matchup against Golden State in what should be a really fast-paced game, I think SGA definitely offers some upside here. But he's obviously a tournament play only. I don't think he's someone I'd really be prioritizing in like cash games or anything. Josh Giddey at 8K feels priced about right, but again, this game environment should be really good. This should be a fast-paced game, so I think Giddey offers some tournament upside. Nothing else really looks that great from OKC though. Again, if Jalen Williams does wind up sitting, we could look to Dario Saric if he starts, but that'll do it for OKC. Don't really like too much else here. Now, on the other side with Golden State, hard to really prioritize anything from Golden State now that Steph Curry is back. Obviously, with Steph back, that's pretty much going to take Clay and Poole out of play where they're priced at least. They can still have good games, but where they're priced at, you're not really going to prioritize either one. And then Steph, in his return, played 32 minutes, was not great, only had 42 DK points. Since this is his second game back from injury, I'm probably going to pass on Steph here. He did play 32 minutes, though, in his first game. So, maybe he plays 34, 35 minutes. Maybe he just plays full minutes today. I don't really know. He's more of a GPP option, though. Obviously, coming back from injury, there's some concerns there. Not a priority on this slate. No priorities from Golden State. I don't really see too much to like here. Draymond at 6,500 feels priced about right. DiVincenzo, Looney, those guys I'm not going to. So, yeah, I think that does for that game. Let's move on to the next one, Brooklyn and Houston. So for Houston today, Houston's a kind of a tricky team to target right now. The minutes on some of their main guys have kind of been all over the place lately. We've seen even in competitive games, Şengün's only been playing like 30 minutes. They really haven't been playing him like 35, 36 minutes like you would like to see. His price tag just keeps coming down though, so I think in tournaments, Şengün definitely makes some sense. I think this matchup against Brooklyn is pretty good. We've seen Brooklyn give up some big games to centers this season. So I don't mind going to Şengün as a GBP option. It's just that, I think his upside's a little bit capped right now just because he's probably not playing more than like 32 minutes. I'd be surprised if they play him like 36 minutes. It seems like they don't want to win games. So Şengün's more of a GBP play. KPJ and Jalen Green, neither one of those guys look super appealing at their price tags. The rest of Houston, Jabari Smith, KJ Martin, these guys aren't super appealing. Tari Eason, I don't mind just because he's been playing a lot off the bench and he's been a good permanent producer with Houston this season. His minutes seem to be pretty secure and they've been playing Tari Eason even in blowouts. So at 4,800, if he's locked into 30 minutes a night, 4,800 is too cheap if he's going to continue to play 30 minutes. Does he continue to play 30 minutes? That's the real question, but the price tag is pretty low for a guy that has shown he can really produce, really stuff the stat sheet when he does get the minutes. So I think he's probably like my favorite play on Houston, followed by Şengün, and I'm not really interested in anyone else on the Rockets. Now on the other side with Brooklyn, really, really good spot here for Brooklyn going up against the Rockets, so we're definitely going to want to target some Brooklyn guys today. I think Mikal Bridges, even at 8,100, Mikal's just been so good since getting traded to the Nets. His role has been amazing. He's been taking a ton of shots. He's been playing massive minutes. Nobody on Houston can slow him down one-on-one, so I think this is a really good spot for Mikal Bridges. I think at 8,100, even though his price tag's really up there, I still think he's in play. Crazy to see him at that price tag. When he was on the Suns, he was always like 5K or 5,500. Sometimes he'd get into like the 6K range. And now he's on Brooklyn and he's 8,100. And we might even see his price continue to rise. So Mikal's been playing great. I think he's firmly in play. I think Spencer Dinwiddie's in a really good spot. This has been a great matchup for point guards facing the Rockets. Dinwiddie's had a really big role with the Nets. He's been playing big minutes as well. His price tag not as expensive as Mikal, so I'm definitely interested in Dinwiddie. I think it's a pretty good spot for Nick Claxton too. Claxton's minutes kind of been all over the place lately, but he has shown that when he does get minutes, he can really produce, can stuff the stat sheet. Matchup's great, so I don't mind Claxton as like a GPP dart throw. I assume his ownership will be very low on this slate. And then the last guy that I want to talk about is Cam Johnson. Just continues to have a bigger role with Brooklyn. Obviously, he's not really been the same player with Brooklyn that he was on Phoenix. On Phoenix, he was just kind of like a spot-up shooter, just a guy that would take a lot of threes. Well, with this Brooklyn team, he's been driving to the basket a lot. He's been rebounding really well, just been a totally different player. And the price tag at 5,900, I think still leaves some meat on the bone. I think Cameron Johnson can still pay off this price tag, especially now that he's pretty much locked into 30-plus minutes a night. So I'm definitely interested in Cameron Johnson at 5,900. And that's pretty much it for Brooklyn. I don't think there's anyone else I want to target here. So that'll do it for that game. Got 2 more games to go over, guys. Start off with next game, Utah and Dallas. So for Dallas here, I don't really like too much on the Mavs today. I think Luka and Kyrie are both viable GBP plays. At their price tags, $12K for Luka, $9,300 for Kyrie. I wouldn't consider either one of them priorities. It's a great matchup, and I think both of them should have plenty of success here. But again, at 12K for Luka, you need Luka to put up like 70 to be worth this price tag. And I think I'd be more likely to play Giannis probably, especially if Drew Holiday's out, over Luka. So not really prioritizing Luka here. Kyrie at 9,300, I think's fine. His price tag's come down a little bit. He obviously can outperform the salary, but wouldn't consider him a priority on this slate either. And really nothing else on Dallas is appealing. Luka and Kyrie are just dominating usage, so it's really hard for any of these other guys to really have good games consistently, I guess. We did see Tim Hardaway kind of pop off for a big game recently. He had, 21 points off the bench, played 30 minutes. He's just like a dart throw at best. You're not going to prioritize him today. So that's pretty much it for Dallas. Now on the Utah side, I don't really like too much on Utah either. Lauri Markkanen's going to be back for this game. He was out last game. Lauri Markkanen, at 9,600. I'll pass on here. That price tag is just too high for my liking. I would rather play Kyrie if I was going to play one of those guys in that price range. Jordan Clarkson at 7,500, especially with Lauri back. Too expensive for my liking. Walker Kessler at 7K, I don't mind. His minutes have been pretty solid lately. Played 32 minutes last game. He's been getting about 30, 32 minutes a night in competitive games. Some of these games lately have been blowouts. Some of these games he's also been in foul trouble, but I think barring a blowout or foul trouble here, we'll probably get like 32 minutes from Walker Kessler. And Walker Kessler has shown when he gets minutes, he can really produce. He's a great shot blocker. He can get you a double-double. So yeah, I think he's in play at 7K. He's probably my favorite play on Utah. THT, going to pass on. His minutes have really been trending down. Kelly Olynyk at 6K, too expensive. Chris Dunn at 4,800, I'll pass on as well. I know his minutes have been pretty solid lately, but 4,800 feels like the appropriate price tag for him. So yeah, that'll do it for that game. Let's move on to the last game of the night, the Lakers and the Grizzlies. This one should be a fun one. This is a fun late-night hammer. Definitely going to be a game we want to target for DFS purposes. We'll start off on the Lakers side. Obviously, no LeBron still for the Lakers. D'Angelo Russell is questionable, though, so D'Angelo Russell does have a chance to return this game. If D'Angelo Russell returns, that's going to make a lot of these guys besides AD look less appealing. So like Dennis Schroeder wouldn't be really viable. Malik Beasley, Jared Vanderbilt would look a little bit less appealing. Troy Brown, Austin Reeves, these guys would look less appealing as well. I think the only priority from the Lakers right now is Anthony Davis. I mean, Anthony Davis has just had a massive role lately. He's been playing massive minutes. The offense has been running through him. And that should only continue while LeBron is out. The matchup against Memphis, not the best, but without Steven Adams, I think this matchup's a little bit softer for AD. The Lakers need to win games right now, so they're going to play AD 38, 40 minutes if this game is competitive. So I'm definitely into AD as a pay-up option today. He's for sure my favorite play on the Lakers. If D'Angelo Russell plays and he's not limited, I think he's kind of interesting because without LeBron, we can expect Russell to take on a pretty big role here, and the price tag at $6,300 is not that expensive at all. So I would definitely be interested in D'Angelo Russell if he's playing and if he's not limited. Obviously, we don't have that news right now. The rest of the Lakers, though, probably going to pass on these guys. Jared Vanderbilt's been he's just been a roller coaster with the Lakers. He'll have a big game, then he'll have like two shit games. They don't have a really big game, then he'll have a bad game. It's just hard to really tell what you're going to get from him. Last game, he only played 24 minutes, but he was really productive in those 24 minutes. Again, his minutes have kind of been all over the place, so probably going to pass on Vanderbilt here. Same for Malik Beasley. He's been inconsistent as a scorer. We know he's a guy that can get hot and can knock down threes, but at 5,400, I think his price tag gotten to a point where he's not really a priority anymore. So that's pretty much it for the Lakers. Now on the other side with Memphis, a lot to like here for Memphis. Obviously, no Ja Morant right now for the Grizzlies, and Draftkings is not really. They really haven't adjusted the prices for Ja being out. Triple J and Desmond Bane, I think both still look pretty appealing here. 7,900 for Triple J, 7,700 for Bane. We can expect both these guys to pick up usage, pick up more, be more productive, and they're going to have more opportunity while Ja Morant is out. Triple J played 35 minutes last game, which was great to see. I think he's appealing. I think Desmond Bane's going to pick up a bigger role while Ja Morant's out. He played 35 minutes the last game as well. I think he's appealing at 7,700. And then there's a lot of value from Memphis. So Xavier Tillman last game played a ton of minutes. He played 34 minutes, and I think without Brandon Clark, without Steven Adams, we can expect the minutes to be pretty secure for Tillman here. So I'm definitely interested in him at 5,400. The best play on the slate is probably Tyus Jones. He's only 4,900. For some reason, DraftKings just didn't even really price him. I mean, they priced him up a little bit, but they didn't price him up enough. Like, without Ja Morant, Tyus Jones should be like 6K, 7K. I mean, he's still way too cheap at 4,900 for a really good matchup against the Lakers. So Tyus Jones, a great value play. Dylan Brooks, he's been terrible this season, but he's a great value play as well. We know Dylan Brooks is not afraid to shoot. And without John Morant, there's going to be plenty of usage available for Dillon Brooks. He's super cheap. He looks really appealing today. So lots of like from Memphis. Really, all 5 starters for Memphis look appealing. Brooks, Jones, Tillman, Triple J, Bang, all 5 of those guys are viable here. Don't know if I'd really get to anyone else on the Grizzlies, though. Don't know if I'd consider anyone off the bench, but the 5 starters all look like really good plays. So that'll do it for that game. Lots of liking that one. That'll do it for this 8-game Tuesday slate. I hope you guys, as always, enjoyed this video. I appreciate you watching. Make sure you hit that like button down below if you enjoyed. Hit that subscribe button if you have not yet. And again, go check out PrizePicks, guys. You guys can sign up for PrizePicks. Use my promo code Noah. When you do sign up for PrizePicks with my promo code, PrizePicks will match your first deposit up to $100. And you can check out some of the props they have already posted for Tuesday's game. See if there's anything that stands out to you. Again, you're just taking more or less on a player's projection. It's as simple as that. You have to make at least 2 picks. If you can make up to 6 picks, you can win up to 25x your money on PrizePicks. So go check them out, guys. Sign up with promo code Noah and get your first deposit matched up to $100. But that's all that I got for this slate, for this Tuesday slate. Hope you guys enjoyed this breakdown. Hopefully this video helped, and hopefully we can all win some money tonight. Wish you guys the best luck on this slate, and we will see you in the next video. Peace.